Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Tance Hughes, the CEO of Southern Designs, a home decor and accessories company. Welcome to the show, Tance.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Malcolm.
Tance, you grew your company's revenue from $430,000 in 2014 to $3.3 million in 2017, a 664% increase. And in 2018, you hit around 5 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah, so our company manufactures home decor products, primarily metal wall decor, and these items can be personalized with the customer's name or home address or really any kind of text they want to put in the space. And so we manufacture these products here in our facility in Louisiana, and we sell them generally direct to consumer and ship direct to them. So, in many cases, online companies are making these products and selling through other channels and things like that. But we've tried to build really a large direct to consumer audience.
Now, your products are personalized. Does that mean that your order sizes are a bit on the low end side, small size, or do you have like a library of often ordered text that you have ready to go?
Sure. So the bulk of what we have are templates on our website. And so the customer can go there, they can check out a design that they like, and then personalize it with their name, and then we will make it from that point. So we generally have, anywhere from 2 to 4 week lead time to manufacture the product and actually get it to the customer.
And how robust, how thick, how heavy are these items that people are buying?
So the general thickness of the metal signs that we sell is 16 gauge. So they're not too heavy, but they're strong enough for the decor usage. They're not too heavy to hang on the wall, but they handle, and they're not easily bent or anything like that. And they're all powder coated, so they can be hung indoors or outdoors, and you don't have to worry about rust or deterioration or anything like that.
Okay. Now, I'm not a Meadow expert. 16 gauge, how thick is that?
That's around a 1/16 of an inch.
Okay, so not that thick then.
No, they're not overly thick. You get too thick and it can be really heavy to hang on a wall, and you have to look at a whole new, set of material or tools to get it hung with anchors and all that kind of stuff. So we try to keep it pretty simple and lightweight for the customer.
Mm-hmm. And why does it take 2 to 4 weeks to create a custom accessory? If you can maybe explain a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so you place your order on the website, and you think, well, something custom. Many times you're thinking about something that's printed. So you go and order some business cards or some flyers or things of that nature, and you pop them in a printer and they print them, and then you send it to the customer. Well, with our products, you personalize your decor piece. We have to put the personalized information on it. It has to be exported into a specific file type that then has to be mapped for a large laser cutter in the back that we have, one of those 3 machines that we have. Then you have to actually cut the steel. You have to treat the steel after it's cut. So we wash it with a specific kind of chemical and water combination that removes any oils or any dirty, things that may be on the metal. So we're trying to clean the metal. Then we have to shoot the powder and cure the powder at 400 degrees. And then it has to cool off and package and be shipped. So there's a little bit more that goes into the production process of a product like this, as opposed to just something that, may be printed or maybe embroidered with thread or something of that nature.
Right. Now, is it an entirely automated process, and they just kind of, once you get it set up, it just runs by itself? Or do you have a craftsman that takes out the piece, looks at it, they have to burnish it by hand, rub out all the sharp edges and so on?
Right. So over time, we have automated more and more of the process. It's not fully automated. Actually, when it comes to the graphic design of our parts, about 85% of the files are automated now from the design process. And so then what we do is we nest them on a sheet. So it's a 5 by 10 foot sheet of metal we nest as many parts as we can get on one sheet. The machine cuts them all at once, and then once they come off, they just go straight into powder coating, which is still manually being done, but we're in the process of installing an automated powder coating line as well to eliminate, human error and things of that nature. So we're constantly building more and more automation into the process.
Mm-hmm. And the raw steel that you're using to create these steel decor accessories, is it like a big, huge flat sheet of metal that you're working with, or does it come in a big roll and you're unrolling them and using the material as you need it?
Yeah, we buy sheets that are cut 5 by 10 foot when they arrive to us. Now you, of course, as a large user you could buy a coil of steel and then shear it yourself. We're not really set up to do that, and I don't know that we use enough material yet to justify that, but our suppliers, that's what they do, is they buy the coil, they cut it down to the sheet size that we need, and then they ship us truckloads of the sheet metal in 5 by 10 size.
Right. Now, is a part of the time it takes to create the product partly perhaps related to having enough orders so you can fill up a sheet so you don't have a wasted sheet?
Well, I wouldn't generally say that. We have enough volume coming through, so we're on a daily basis making these orders. But what happens is there's fluctuations in seasonality of demand for the product. And so like right now, we're actually shipping out within, say, about a 1 week time frame, which is really quick for us. But around the holidays, our order volume will triple or quadruple pretty quickly. And it's just a matter of capacity at that point. So, and many times we don't have the capacity to get as many orders out as are coming in. So we have to watch that and monitor it constantly ourselves. But that being said, the cutting process, it takes an hour to cut one sheet. There may be 30 pieces on a sheet, but we may bring in 300 orders a day. So you're talking, we may need to cut 10 sheets a day. Well, there's 10 hours of production time. So
right.
Just a lot of things that go into it. It's just not a overly fast process. Once you add in the steps of treating the metal, powder coating the metal, curing the metal, letting it cool down, all of those things kind of play a factor in it. But the biggest thing would be the seasonality of the demand. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what you do is like totally foreign to me. So, apologies for some of these real basic questions. And I've never worked in a metal fabrication shop, so I don't really know exactly what goes into it. I know there's a lot more than just me going to a store and buying it. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I would say, with your turnaround time too, I mean, you have to look at we don't have shelf inventory. We don't really have much of anything set on a shelf where we can just pull it off and throw it in a box. Since it's made to order, there's just a few steps in the process.
Yeah. Now your market is really interesting, right? I mean, these made to order home decor products. How did you find this market?
So the previous iteration of my business was printing. I was actually in a printing business. I printed apparel and other decorative items, and I already had some experience in selling to our customer base, which is generally women, ages 25 to 54. That's kind of our core consumer profile. And so, I was looking at other items and products that I could sell them. So it comes from a previous, I guess, business iteration that I had. But as we marketed to the customers online, we started seeing the data. I'm a big data person. So I'm looking in Google Analytics and my Facebook pixel and all these different sources of data, and they all align and paint the same picture that, this is my customer profile. And so now I continue to try to follow trends and things that consumer is looking for, if that answers your question.
It does. But I mean, it's interesting that you found this market, because my wife has gone to the store and she fits her profile, and she's bought pre-made letters, right, for our kids' names that she can hang on their doors and so on. So I can see how someone like my wife might be really keen on maybe spelling out the entire name, right, and picking out the pattern and design. And I find it really interesting that you found that market, found that niche.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just sit here and say that I'm this genius that knew that this market was here completely before I started it, but I follow the trends. I see what people are looking at and what they're buying. I mean, I think there's a lot of other markets and trends that are easily identifiable, and you just have to go after them. And Since I was kind of already familiar at selling to that specific profile, I figured why start over with something different? I can, continue to attack what I know. So that's why I went there.
Right. So you saw that profile, interested in doing custom design, printed materials on textiles, on fabrics, and then you said, well, why don't I offer it on the metal side? Is that how it started, or did someone make that request repeatedly and you said, hey, maybe I should just dive into this deeper?
No, essentially, I was looking to create another product brand, a product line that I thought I could capitalize on that wasn't saturated. And this was a market that just wasn't saturated. And I had the familiarity with manufacturing these products and marketing to that customer. So that's just kind of how I pieced it together. I wasn't necessarily getting requests for it.
Uh-huh. Very cool. So did you have metalwork experience at one point, or you were selling pretty basic non-customized stuff and then you decided to extend the product line?
Yeah, I didn't have experience in metalworking. I had experience in commercial signage. We manufactured some commercial signage for our customers in our printing business, but my brother actually wanted to come and join the business and get involved. And he had a history with metal fabrication, welding and cutting and things like that. So kind of paired his manufacturing knowledge with my sales and marketing knowledge and created this brand from there. Now, of course, I've learned a ton about it since we started. But no, I didn't really have any background in it per se. That was really my brother.
Right. But very cool though, right? Because people in general prefer customized products as opposed to a generic one. So it's very cool how you're able to put it together. Now, you grew your business quite rapidly over the past 4 years, 430,000 in 2014. And then 4 years later, you more than 10x'd your business. You hit around 5 million in 2018. What were the three biggest drivers of your sales growth during that period?
Well, I would say that number one, a driver of sales growth was simply that I was in a market that was not saturated. It had endless opportunity. It has no clear-cut leader. So getting the pictures of the products and videos of the products in front of people alone drove sales because there weren't many places to get this kind of product. So I guess that would tie into like social media, just getting the products out on social media and people sharing and commenting. The second thing would be understanding our audience and how to market to them. So we would partner with various websites to sell our products on them. Just a quick rundown would include Walmart, Amazon, Groupon, Zulily, sites that have a lot of customers already visiting there. And so when they see our products and there's not really any other vendors selling them, it was an easy sell for us. And then thirdly, I guess a driver of sales growth, this isn't exactly maybe related to sales, but automating a lot of our production processes and getting the correct equipment really helps us to increase our capacity to handle the growth and then continue to scale from there.
Right. Now, so the three drivers that allow you to grow your sales over the past 4 years so rapidly. One, you entered at least 4 years ago a market that wasn't that saturated, and there's demand for it. And once people knew that you can provide it, people bought. Number two, you're understanding your audience, and you partnered up with other large retailers that have the audience. So you put your product again in front of them, and they were keen on buying it. And the third one, that you were automating your productions and processes to allow you to scale up and meet the demand. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and people may not connect. That's what I was saying. People may not connect the production component to sales growth, but for us, it would have completely hampered any further growth if we didn't address, kind of the back end behind the scenes stuff. So it's just as vital to our success in having the correct production equipment and capacities.
Right. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into each of the drivers. You said at the very beginning, one of the keys 4 years ago was that the market wasn't that saturated. How is it today?
There are definitely, competitors popping up here and there. A lot of people seeing what we do and saying, oh, well, I can do that too. And, they're going and buying some equipment and manufacturing. So there's definitely people popping up all over the place trying to get into this field. And a couple of companies that have had some success with it for sure. But one of the components of this, and this may go into the third, back to the production component of sales growth, but some of the equipment that we have is pretty expensive and takes a lot to run and maintain it, that a lot of these startups simply can't afford or get access to. So fortunately for us, that's helped us kind of keep our distance from a lot of the new startups that are trying to do this.
Now, how do you assess that the market's saturated? What kind of things are you looking at beyond just simply looking at how many players there are out there when you Google, custom steel decor products? How are you assessing the market saturation?
Well, I would say in our case, when we can't drive repeat sales from returning customers, that's going to be a bad sign for us.
Okay.
Because you want them to continue to purchase from you or to continue to drive new purchases. So of course, when I see my sales growth slow down or my returning customer number percentage come down, that's what I would, I guess, assume. Honestly, I don't know that I fully have the answer to that, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. As well as if my cost for customer acquisition starts to rise a lot, that's going to tell me that there's, a lot of competition fighting for that same customer profile.
Right. Well, just from the sales growth number, it doesn't sound like you've hit the saturation point yet.
I don't believe so. I think we still have a ways to go. And because of the nature of our product, we can do so much with it. It's not limited to one or two designs. We can do a lot that we haven't even scratched the surface with. So I'm pretty optimistic about the longevity of this product category.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just right off the top of the bat, right? I mean, there's no reason why you can't make smaller custom made keychains, right? If it came down to it, right? So it's quite a big market. I mean, you could possibly even make iPhone cases out of steel, perhaps, possibly, assuming it doesn't interfere with the signal of the phone.
I'm sure you could. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone always wants to stand out and be different, right? Having a cool steel customized case would definitely stand out. So,
yeah.
For number 2, understanding your audience and partnering with the website. Let me ask you the easy question first. When you said partnering with website, are you talking about having a storefront on Amazon as a third-party seller, or are you talking about just advertising on Amazon and Walmart?
We would partner with them and basically have some sort of storefront on those sites. So, our own page on that site listing our products, we're leveraging their audience, they're purchasing the product, taking their cut, giving us our cut, from there. So generally having a storefront on there, not really doing paid ads per se.
Okay. And have you looked into doing paid ads on the likes of Amazon?
A little bit. Amazon's been tricky with personalized products, but it's something we're definitely working on right now. Actually, we're studying some stuff. At first, we were just selling stock items that couldn't be personalized, and we did have some success with it. So now we're kind of regrouping because we really want to focus on the personalized end of things. We haven't actually gotten that one started yet on Amazon specifically.
Okay.
We mostly advertise through Facebook and Google.
Right. Now, I never heard of Amazon being a bit difficult when it comes to personalized products. What's the story behind that?
They actually required you to apply to be accepted into their at first it was called the handmade, kind of Amazon handmade, I guess was the category, and they were real selective for some reason. And then at another point, they didn't have the personalization features built in very well. So if you go on the page, you want to buy this product, but you type in, your name, you type in Malcolm, you want to pick an M, you want to pick this and that. It really struggled with that component. So they weren't essentially offering it initially. And now they've made some strides in that area that we're hoping to capitalize on. But I guess really it was they were limiting it themselves, and I'm not sure why, unless they just wanted to test the waters.
Right. Or maybe they have millions of products on there through their system, right? Maybe there aren't that many fully customized products out there for them to devote the resources to make it happen.
Exactly.
Okay, very interesting. Now, you said you advertise a lot on Google and Facebook, and I actually ran some of my tools to check out your online ad presence, and at least for your main website, I didn't see any pay-per-click ads. Are you running the ads on a different domain name?
No, so our main brand that we actually sell our products under is called metalunlimited.com. And I probably should have shared some of that with you ahead of time, but we sell most of our products under the brand name metalunlimited.com, and that's where you're going to see all of the ads. Southern Designs is our corporate name. We have another division that we operate a small amount of our business under. So that's probably what you ran into.
Okay. Makes sense. So what's your thinking behind using Meadow Unlimited as opposed to Southern Designs?
So when we started, of course, we already had our company Southern Designs, and we just we were testing developing a brand independent of, I guess, that corporate name.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to kind of focus and tell everybody, hey, we can do whatever you would like and make it out of metal. And so Metal Unlimited is kind of how we came up with the name, and it took off from there. So we never, ran it back under the Southern Designs name. Similar to, some kind of corporate umbrella that has multiple brands under it. That's kind of how we're structured.
Right. Well, in a way, I can see how it makes sense, right? Because your designs aren't necessarily Southern regional.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Okay, got it. Now, for your third driver, you talked about automating your production processes. Can you give me an idea of how big your facilities are?
Yeah, we have about 30,000 square feet of space. We just expanded about a year and a half ago to we started in 15,000. Now we have 30,000 square foot, and we're maxed out again. So we're currently thinking through the next phase of expansion space wise. So that's kind of the size that we are right now.
Right. That's pretty big. And you said you have 3 lines right now. Is that what you shared earlier in our conversation?
We have 3 laser cutters. So we can essentially cut 3 sheets at a time.
Mm-hmm.
On our machines. And then we have, of course, our powder coating line, a full shipping department, and then our offices and everything are here as well. Right. So they're all under the same roof.
Right. And in your production facilities, if you're running in the middle of the day and they were fully utilized, is it really loud in there and hot, or is it pretty moderate?
No, it's not. It's not loud. I mean, there's noise, but the lasers don't make a lot of noise themselves. They're pretty quiet, and they're kind of contained. They have a casing around them. It can get hot in the summer times just because, you've got a powder coating oven that's running at 400 degrees. So, it can get a little bit warm, but most of the facility is climate controlled. We only have a portion of the facility that is not. But we run fans and things like that to circulate the air, and it's not too bad.
Yep. Now, what are your thoughts about owning your own facilities as opposed to finding some other company somewhere that has some huge production facility and excess capacity that you could outsource to?
Sure. Well, I definitely prefer owning my own facility. So while I'm not a micromanager or a control freak, I do love to have control over my business in the sense that if I tell you I'm going to do something for you, I will only have myself to blame if I fail. I don't ever want to leave my business in the hands of somebody else and hope and pray that they do their job. So I love bringing all of the equipment under the same roof, hiring my own people, being able to go out there if I need to and check on things, and understanding my capacity, things of that nature. So I'm all about having, control over the process as best as possible.
Now,
you lose.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think you'll lose quality, and kind of some of that experience with the customer when you outsource to other people, at least from a manufacturing perspective.
Right. Now, what are your thoughts about a common theme, and maybe the media kind of hypes it up more than it really is, that manufacturing is dying in the United States? But here you're a manufacturer, and you're doing everything in the United States in-house, and you're doing well with it. So what's your take on that thought?
In certain cases, manufacturing is a very challenging environment to be in the United States. You've got to look at certain areas of the country where it's very expensive to do business. Luckily for us, we're in an area of the country where it's fairly low cost of living, low cost of operation. We're in Louisiana. So land is, fairly cheap. Buildings are not too expensive, and labor costs are lower here. So I think in areas like ours, you can manufacture and be competitive in certain industries. Now, if you go to areas like, New York, California, that might be more challenging there. So depends on the specific, I guess, kind of industry or product line that you're in. But what I will say is that manufacturing is definitely not dead in the United States. And if anything, the cost of shipping and transit times from, if you're importing from China or somewhere else like that, those are actually challenges as well, because in today's, world, we're instant gratification kind of is what we all look forward to. We want it now. Well, if it takes, 60 to 90 days to get a product from China or something of that nature, that's too long. And on the personalization end of things, you can't be competitive in most cases coming from another country, because the cost is just too prohibitive. And the fact that we can manufacture it right here and ship it straight to you is too convenient. So because I've looked to see, somebody from a different country are going to try to import this type of business model and ship it from overseas, and I just don't see how they can do it and be competitive.
Yep. And plus, would you say that a lot of your purchases are maybe impulse purchases?
Definitely. This is not a need product. We need food and water. We need housing. We need transportation generally and things like that. This is not a product that we need. This is a product that we want. This is a product, I wouldn't say it's a luxury product, but it is a luxury. It's extra. And so people see it, oh yeah, I want to buy this real quick. This is kind of neat. I haven't seen this. I'm going to get it for, a gift for a birthday or an anniversary or something of that nature. And so it's not something that people necessarily plan around, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, that also lends it to you need a way of creating it and shipping it quickly, right? Because it's more of an impulse. Yes. People need it for a holiday, a party, or whatnot. And if you're overseas and you have to wait 2 months for it, I'm not sure if anyone's going to buy that. Just buy some letters and make it by hand.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now is your steel locally made as well, or do you buy steel from outside?
No, so all of our our steel is U.S. steel. At least to my knowledge, it is. We always check and ask,
right.
But we do source it from the U.S. We've never sourced steel internationally. The only parts or components that we've ever sourced internationally would be our clock mechanisms that we manufacture a custom clock with your name on it, and we have bought the clock mechanisms from overseas before. But now we are actually sourcing those from the United States as well, or at least a supplier in the United States. And we do, of course, want to buy American made as often as possible, and try to support the economy here in our country. So, all of our steel, our powder, for powder coating, etc., comes here from here in the U.S.
Right. Now, is there, is the steel that you use, is it pretty much a commodity product and you could potentially buy it from overseas if it made sense?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I could easily buy it from pretty much anywhere. It's definitely commodity. But once again, having it a few hours down the road from us, as opposed to waiting 90 days on a, tanker or whatever the big ships are that bring it from over there. That's not convenient for us. I don't need to sit on hundreds of thousands of dollars of steel just so that I can have it in time. Whereas I can call my supplier here in the U.S. and literally the next day I have a truckload of 400 sheets of steel. So it just doesn't really make sense for our business model. And then I have priced it out. It's not really competitive at all.
Yep. And then you have to worry about more supply chain issues, deliverability issues, import duties that might be slapped on, out of nowhere that can change everything, right?
Yeah. And then the fact that we can promote, hey, these products are made in America with American materials. I mean, that's a good selling point too. So
yeah, definitely. So, all right. Interesting. Now for 2019, where would you like to see your business a year from now? Say we were having this conversation a year later. Where would you like to see your business 1 year from now, and what challenges do you need to overcome to get you there?
So I would love to see continued progress in the automation growth internally. That's a big way that we can continue to keep our costs down, keep our prices competitive. As the as the category does continue to mature and I would say get more saturated. It's not saturated yet, but as it continues to get more players in the field, we want to stay competitive and keep our prices down. So the more that we can automate, I think we'll continue to grow our business further.
Okay.
As far as what did you say my plans are for the coming year?
Yeah, like, what are your objectives? Where do you want to be? Say you and I are having this conversation a year from now, literally. Where would you want your revenue to be, for example?
Yeah, so we are our goal and our projections that have aligned, and we're projecting about 6.5 million in revenue this year, and that was a goal that we set as well. And so as we've annualized out these first 3 months here, that's right where we're in line at. So what we would love to see is a lower cost of acquisition from our marketing efforts. That we're actively really starting to get granular with our Facebook and Google ads and trying to identify different audiences and find those next customer profiles and areas of growth that we maybe haven't tapped into yet. And then, of course, the continued automation on our website. We are actually working on installing a preview tool right now so you can get a live preview of what your product would look like. We think that will help conversions. We think that will help sell the product quicker without them buying something and guessing and hoping that it looks the way they want it to look. So those are the areas that we are working on. And then so for us, we are very heavy dependent on sales from the fourth quarter. So October through December, we are hoping to have our capacity increased for that period of the year where we can really continue to get products out quicker around the holidays, because people get kind of worked up. Is my product going to be here before Christmas? I've got a Christmas party this weekend, et cetera, et cetera. And so what we're really trying to do is ramp up earlier in the year to hopefully meet that demand, because man, in November, I mean, it just gets crazy around here.
Yeah.
And people are buying gifts left and right. So we're really trying to manage that time of the year better. We get better and better every year, but we still have so far that we can go.
Yeah. So are your plants at 100% or 80% utilization throughout the year, and then fourth quarter you're at 100%?
So generally, we may be running realistically at about 65% utilization. And then, the fourth quarter, we're maxed out. We're running 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. We are hiring on temporary workers, extra staff, for that time of the year. Everybody's working, 60-hour work weeks at least, if not more, just trying to pump the product out. And so for us, we've invested in some new equipment, such as the automated powder line and another laser that, year round, they may not be utilized fully, but in the fourth quarter, what we get out of that more than pays for having that machine around year round. So I'm all about efficiencies and keeping stuff going as fast as we can and not letting the machine sit around because they cost you money. But the fourth quarter, it blows it away. So we can justify it.
Right. Any thoughts about finding some other product line that's not as seasonal so you can keep the utilization up over the first?
Yeah. So of course we've gone through so much growth that we haven't really had too much open capacity over the past few years. But as our business gets more mature and efficient, we do see that arising that, this time of the year, say right now, we're going to have extra capacity that we'd like to fill. So I've talked with a few people. We're working on looking at offering our machines up to subcontract laser cut parts for if it's a machine manufacturer or some other product manufacturer that maybe needs access to lasers, but their business isn't large enough to afford a laser yet, or if they just need some extra backup, production capacity that we can offer them. We've also looked at some different product lines that, I'm not really at liberty to speak about just yet, but something that would be seasonal towards this time of the year or maybe the summer time of the year. So we're definitely looking at ways to fill some of those gaps.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Because it's kind of like the Amazon server model, right? They have their servers set up to handle Black Friday and so on, right? And then the rest of the year, they just outsource, they sell that excess capacity to other businesses to use. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So you can figure out the same way to do it with your plant. That could be a nice revenue boost. So.
Right.
How about in terms of, you talk a little bit about your customer acquisition costs and keeping it as low as possible. What are your plans and efforts there over the next year?
I'm hoping to reduce my customer acquisition costs by about 25% this year. That's been kind of the biggest, I guess, challenge that I think we're facing with our marketing efforts this year, is just simply getting our CPAs down. And whether, well, I mean, we can focus on upselling and pushing more product on them. That's all, great too. But really, if I can, I'm confident in my product. My product sells itself. It's a very good product that doesn't have trouble converting, but the costs on Facebook and Google are constantly rising. And so we're trying to figure out how to combat that. So I'm trying to reduce my CPAs by about 25% this year.
Right. How much, when you say reduce by 20 to 25%, how big an impact would that have on your bottom line?
I don't have the exact numbers, but yeah, I mean, it would be huge, because we're at a good spot. So we're kind of in our sweet spot right now where we're profitable, we're making good money. We're not, just rolling around over here in cash, Pool Bears cash or anything like that. But yep. I think it would really allow us to, if we could become, like I said, if we cut those costs down a little bit more, we could really actually ramp up our spend to try to grow sales more.
Yep.
And or pay down some debts on equipment. And we've gone through so many growing pains over the last few years that, we go buy machines, we finance them, and
yep.
and we've expanded our facility, and we're gonna have to expand it again. So we really need it. We would like to pay down some debts and to keep our company healthy and not grow too fast.
Yep.
So that would be our focus with the money, as opposed to what it would do for the bottom line, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it does open up reallocation of your capital, right? If you're spending this much less on acquiring new customers, like you say, you can pay down debt, you can acquire a new line, you can lease out or acquire a new building, right? So it gives you other opportunities of using your capital.
Exactly.
Yep. Now, what about repeat business? Talk about that as being one of your key indicators. How often do people buy yet another custom design home decor product from you?
Our repeat customers are generally buying from us 3 times a year. So our products are most often given as Christmas gifts, housewarming gifts, and anniversary gifts. So, if you've got one anniversary, somebody that one friend that's moved or family member that's moved, and then a Christmas gift, it's pretty easy to do that 3 times a year. So that's what we've seen so far. We have about a 22% repeat customer rate right now. Of course, we're always trying to get that up too. But yeah, we're seeing about 3 times a year that they purchase from us.
Nice. So 100 new customers come in, and 22 of them will buy again. And when they do buy again, typically it's around 3 times a year.
That's correct.
All right, that's pretty good. So do you have campaigns in place to reach out to people who haven't bought from you?
Yeah, we do. We do some campaigns on Facebook where, if they haven't purchased in the past 90 days, we reach out with some DPAs or remarketing campaigns. Of course, with email segmentations, you can easily segment your list to say, if they haven't purchased in 90 or 180 days, to send out an email reminding them, hey, come back, check us out again, see what's new. Here's a special offer for you. So we're definitely proactive in trying to, re-nurture those relationships and let them know what's new with us since they've last visited.
Now, what you described to me is fairly technical in nature to execute. Are you doing this all in-house, or do you have partners who will help you with that?
We have a marketing agency that helps us with our Facebook and Google ads, but we still manage all of the email work ourselves in-house.
Nice. Have you thought about, given how you control your facilities, production facilities, you could potentially mount cameras throughout the process, and you can actually, as people are waiting the 2 weeks to get the product, you could potentially send them an email every day or every other day and show them snapshots of, or even videos of their product being made in person. Have you thought about trying that?
It sounds like a daunting task. I'm sure it could be done. As far as cameras, no, but we have been working internally on a tool that will send them updates on where their product is in the production process, similar to like the Domino's pizza tracker or anything like that. We have a system in place that can, using a tool like Zapier, which kind of helps programs talk to each other, and an internal database, it can detect the order number. And then every time a status change is made on that from our internal systems, it could shoot out an email, hey, your order's been cut, it's headed to powder coating, or, something like that. So that's one of those efficiencies and customer experience things that we definitely believe we can improve upon to help with customer retention going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I do recall some other companies doing what I described, kind of showing someone's custom product being made, more than just a text update, but actually showing pictures of it being made, being packed, and so on. And some of the people just love getting that, and they just reshare that. Say, hey, look what's being made for you. And of course, if it's a gift, you're not going to want to reshare it, right? But
Right.
Interesting way of getting some social media presence. Doing
Sure.
that,
yeah. No, that's a good idea.
So, if there's an easy way of testing it, it might be kind of cool. I guess you could test it pretty easily, right? Just shoot a video with your iPhone and just send it to one particular customer and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Now, 3 last questions for you. For Meadows Unlimited or Southern Designs, if you were to have a billboard along a fast-moving freeway in Louisiana, what would it say? And keep in mind, you only have about 6 seconds, or the people only have 6 seconds to see your billboard before they drive by.
Yeah. So I would just say, personalized for you, unique metal decor gifts, something of that nature. We try to point out the unique personal aspect of the product. So it would definitely be something of that nature.
Right. Okay. And who are your ideal customers? Or perhaps you can recap again, because I know you mentioned it early on in our conversation, but who are your ideal customers, and what's the best way for them to find and buy your product?
Yeah, so our ideal customers, of course, are generally women ages 25 to 54. They generally have some family component in their lives. They're generally just middle class, regular people that are buying our products. And the best way, of course, for them to find our products is to visit our website, metalanlimited.com, and check out the entire selection that we have there. Because, as I said earlier, we sell with other partners at times and have different products on their sites, but we never have our entire collection of products on any other site except for our own. So it's, of course, the best place to go.
Right. Now, if I were to find your site on Amazon, do you have the full customization available, or those are just your standard stock items? And if you want customization, they have to go to your website.
Yeah, on Amazon, it's just some stock items. We're hoping to get the customization up on there, hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months. But right now, the full customization is only on our site.
Right. All right. Very cool. And can you share briefly maybe the range of how much your products cost?
Yeah, generally you can get one of our products in the $40 to $100 range. They're pretty affordable. They're not a very high ticket.
Yeah, definitely affordable. And how many letters might that possibly be for a $100 item?
Generally, the max will be up to 16 characters. Now we have other products that have multiple lines of text, and you can start squeeze in, 25, 30 characters. But generally what you're focused on with our products it's a name or a home address, something of that nature. You're not putting a ton of information on it.
Right. I got it. Tance, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I've really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I was glad to talk to you. It's always fun to talk about your business and take a break from working on it and just kind of share the story. So I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And I really enjoyed hearing about your business on the metal fabrication side. It's something that I've never really dived deep into before. So it's very interesting how you put it all together.
Thanks.
We've been speaking with Tance Hughes, the CEO of Southern Designs, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.